Hello again, friends. It is week 6 of the high school football press box preview presented by KRVN. He's Scott Foster. I'm Tyler Cavali, and thanks again for tuning in. Now, before we get to the couple of games we want to preview this week, there's some guys and some teams we have to recognize. And first, there is an accolade that Gothenburg head coach was able to get this weekend.
A milestone win for sure for Coach Craig Hakey. He was one of the really good guys around here in the sport. He got his 150th win as they knocked off O'Neill 28-0. He's been coaching for 26 years. He's made 15 playoffs during that time, averaging just about 6 wins a year. I mean, the consistency, we've called it Hakey ball a lot, but the consistency in Gothenburg has just been outstanding. And when you talk to him about it, he said, "It's what I like to do, you know, and I don't want to change things. So this is what I'm going to do." And he said, "I'm not tired of it either." So he's going to keep him. But a great win for Craig, and we wish him the best of luck.
Congratulations to him. I'm not going to age myself, but he's been coaching as long as I've nearly been alive. The KRVN corridor, aka Highway 30, or other various teams in our area, mostly went undefeated last week.
Yeah. That's one of the first times that I remember since I've been paying attention that Gothenburg, Cozad, Lexington, Elm Creek, Overton all had wins this week. That's really cool. And I don't know, it's maybe kind of a coincidence, but all the teams played well. We'll take it.
And a couple of those teams we'll talk about here in just a couple of moments. Let's get right down to business as we preview the games we'll have for you. Starting on 880 KRVN, it's Cozad traveling to Minden. Kickoff on Friday is set for 7 p.m. We'll have that game for you again on 880 KRVN, 106.9 FM in the Kearney area or 98.5 in the Grand Island area. Well, these two teams, somewhat hot teams, are colliding on Friday night. We'll start with Cozad. They're coming off of a 46-7 win over Holdridge. And we have to start with a youngster in Connor Westcoat, had a terrific night.
I love this story. Connor Westcoat, as a freshman, we started talking about him a little bit. He's had a myriad of injuries over the years and has never been really able to get back to that point. Wasn't even necessarily expected to play. And as I sat there, I saw him out there and he got the start and was amazing. 26 carries, 236 yards, 4 touchdowns. What a great night for him.
He fell in for the injured Matthew Schuster, but that just goes to show the depth of running. And we talked about it last week, I believe, or last time we were talking their lot of success has been with the running game.
463 yards on the ground against Holdridge the other night. That's what they want to do. They don't care. If you can run the ball, why pass the ball? And so they're going to kind of keep riding that train for a while, I think.
Now they're on a bit of a winning streak, and as you talked about, the running attack, but also the defense has been playing well, especially down this home stretch.
Yeah, this defense has played well really all year. And so I don't, that's not going to change. They're good fundamental. They're getting much better on the line on both offensive and defensive side. So this is getting to be the kind of haymaker team we thought we would see at the beginning of the year.
And again, let's be fair, they had a first couple of games that were tough. They played well, but just not able to get the 2 early W's. Now their opponent on Friday night are the Whippets of Minden High School. They're coming off a tough loss to Kearney Catholic this past Friday, 31-22. They too are 3-2 overall, but this team is starting to catch fire. They're looking good.
Well, and if there's anything as such a thing as a good loss, it's probably an okay loss against Kearney Catholic. They're a good team. It's a pretty good Minden team. They've really started to put things together. I don't know that a lot of people expected that these two teams would be coming in here with the same record, battling in the districts. This is going to be a fun one.
Now, part of their demise last week against Kearney Catholic was Minden gave up 21 points in the second quarter. Hard to win games when you give up 3 touchdowns. Now, a couple bright spots for Minden this year has been Eddie Gonzalez. He's been tearing it up in the backfield, 827 yards rushing and 6 touchdowns.
Yeah, Eddie has been around for a while, too. We talked about Connor Westcoat. Eddie came around the same year and really started showing up as a freshman, and it's good to see that continue. It's going to be a fun matchup. 2 teams are going to want to run the ball.
Run the ball, and as we talked about Cozad's defense playing well lately, well, so has Minden.
Yeah.
When they've won big, and they've also relied on their defense. They pitched a couple of shutouts.
Right. This is just going to be a good old slobber knocker here again. Another one of those great grinded out sort of games and conditions that are going to be maybe a little muddy and a little wet. It should be a fun game.
I would expect a low-scoring game on that one as well. So again, Friday night on 880 KRVN, Cozad will travel to Minden, kickoff set for 7 p.m. On Cami Country Legends, Class B action as Lexington will host the Gearing Bulldogs. Kickoff for that one is at 7 p.m. And boy, how big of a win for the Minutemen was it this past Friday. After a 20-year drought, they beat McCook in double overtime, 24-21.
Boy, get the monkey off their back for sure. What a nice win for Lexington. They have played good ball at times this year. Turnovers have been a major problem for them. You get rid of those, they're competing in that Crete game much closer than they did. Good job for Jeff Rowan keeping this team going. And Dylan Richmond having to play quarterback because Caleb Carpenter was hurt. And Richmond does really well, 100 yards both sides of the ball.
Yeah, 132 yards, touchdown, and ran for 92 yards and 1 touchdown. 3 Minutemen also in double figures in tackles, led by Eliezer Ochoa. He had 17 tackles.
That's a lot of work. And Ochoa's been doing it all year. We've said his name all year long, and we've done a couple games. And again, one of the things, much like Cozad, Lexington's defense has been pretty good all year long.
I think it's impressive. You talk about Richmond filling in a quarterback, but just how versatile of an athlete he is to go ahead and do that and guide his team to the big win.
This kid, this Dylan Richmond, is something special. And he's not very big necessarily, but, you know, college coaches, if you're listening out there, look at this kid because he can do it all.
Right. Now, their opponent is Gearing. They are 1-4 on the season, and they're still looking for their first win against a Nebraska team as they beat Torrington, Wyoming for their first victory of the season. Now, let's face it, they have struggled offensively as their offense, besides that win against Torrington, has scored only 13 points in the 4 games, while their defense has allowed at least 40 points 3 different times this season. Certainly not the recipe for success.
No, and that's tough. But, you know, they look at this game as a game that they figure they can probably compete. At times, they certainly have with Lexington. So they're going to take this long trip out here and hope to be competitive and believe in themselves, and you just never know what can happen then.
One bright spot for Gearing this year has been quarterback Anthony Walker, has passed for nearly 500 yards, a couple of touchdowns, and is third in the team in rushing at 105. They'll need him to play his A game.
Absolutely. And again, against this defense for Lexington, they're quick, they run to the ball. They don't necessarily get a lot of pressure on the quarterback, but he's going to have to be on target for that secondary.
Again, it's Lexington hosting Gearing coming up Friday night on Cami Country Legends, 100.1 FM, 92.7 FM, 1580 AM, of course, online at krvn.com. That game's set to kick off at 7 p.m. So in review, coming up on Friday night, we'll have 880 KRVN. It is Cozad traveling to Minden. Kickoff for that one is at 7 p.m. And then over on Cami Country Legends, and if you're in the Western Panhandle, kneb.com, you can listen to Lexington hosting Gearing. That one also kicks off at 7 o'clock. And all the games can be heard online at krvn.com. Week 6 action just about to get underway Friday night. Playoff implications now on the horizon. This is a big week, and now every week seems to matter just more and more.
And the weather's changing, so bring a coat.
It's going to be a little slippery and a little cold as well this Friday. He's Scott Foster. I'm Tyler Cavali. This has been Week 6 of the Press Box Preview presented by KRV.